Hey there, Aubrey. How are you today?
I'm great. How are you, Lindsay?
Excellent. Glad to be here on IELTS Energy. Aubrey, do you ever make a concession when you're talking to someone that you don't agree with? Do you feel that you need to do that sometimes?
Yeah, sometimes, right?
Yeah.
We do this to acknowledge their opinion, recognize that there's some merit to what they think. Like, I concede that you might be
Mhm.
right about that, but what
Yes.
about this?
Yeah.
And often it helps them see that you're trying to be open minded. It makes the discussion worth having.
Yeah, this is a normal function of it, like a normal human being that wants to connect, right?
Yeah.
Conceding, giving them a little bit of credit. Okay, I see what you mean, or you have a point. So it's normal. And so it's normal that we might see this on the IELTS exam as well, right?
Yeah, we are answering a great question today about concessions in writing task 2. So we are going to tell you when you need one, why, and stay to the end for a band 9 example of a concession in a task 2 essay.
Yeah. So is this a question from one of our listeners today? Is this a
It's
listener
from one of our
question?
students
Oh,
in 3
amazing.
Keys IELTS. So when you join our course, 3 Keys IELTS, you are admitted into our community and you're able to ask all of your IELTS questions. And one of our
Mhm.
students asked this question.
Okay.
So let's go ahead and read it and dive
Yes.
into
All
concessions.
right, here it is. I'm confused about when to write a concession. Is it required for agree or disagree questions? Additionally, I'm wondering whether a concession refers to a brief sentence about it in paragraph 3 or a whole paragraph from the opposite side. Thanks in advance. It's a great question, Aubrey. It's a great
Yes.
question. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really good question. Concessions are sometimes needed in opinion essays,
Mhm.
depending on the task 2 question. So, the
Mhm.
first thing we need to make sure that is understood here is the difference between an argument essay and an opinion essay. So, let's
Yes.
dive into that first.
Mhm.
What is an opinion essay,
Yeah.
Lindsay?
Yeah, we're getting into the fundamentals here, right, Aubrey? Let's start with the basics. An opinion essay provides just one side of an argument, right, which is your opinion throughout the entire essay. Whereas an argument essay addresses both sides of an issue. That is a very different essay, right?
Exactly. So you can see why sometimes if you really feel strongly about something and you can't come up with any reasons for the other side, an opinion essay might be best.
Mhm.
But if you can think of reasons for both sides, often we recommend an argument essay because
Mhm.
then no matter what, you are covering the entire topic by addressing both sides.
I
Make
love that.
sense?
So we need to be strategic in terms of what kind of essay we're going to write. This happens before we start the essay, right, Aubrey?
Exactly. When you're brainstorming, the first thing you're going to do, read that topic and decide which type of essay, because there are opinion essays, argument essays, depending on the topic. It might be a problem solution essay, advantages,
Mm.
disadvantages. There are a lot of different essays that you might need to write.
So, what would be an example of an opinion essay that we can throw out
Yeah.
for our listeners?
So let's say the topic is about whether students should take a gap year.
Mhm.
Now, an opinion essay, you might say students should not take a gap year. They should start college right away. And then in the first body paragraph, you have your introduction. Your first body paragraph, you're going to share that. And then in
Mhm.
the second body paragraph, you're going to share a separate reason, another reason that
Mhm.
supports this same opinion.
Okay.
But you could write an argument essay
Yeah.
for this question. What would that look like?
Yeah. Well, the first body paragraph would talk about why students should not take a gap year. And then the next body paragraph would be why students should take a gap year. So you're essentially seeing both sides of the arguments, right?
Exactly. And then those ideas need to be fully supported with details and examples.
Mhm.
So, this is what's tricky. Sometimes you don't have a choice. So, we're going to look at a couple of task 2 topics that
Okay.
have come up that have been on the exam recently in
Mm.
February of 2025. And we'll talk about why you would need to choose an opinion essay or an argument essay.
Yeah, it's very cool that we have the exact topics that were on the exams right here for you. So, what is the first one, Aubrey?
Okay, the first one is nowadays, more people travel abroad for tourism than ever before. Do you think this is a positive or negative development? So, this
Mm.
could be written as an opinion essay or as an argument essay. You have the option here to just write your opinion because the question is, do you think this is positive or negative? You can
Mhm.
answer that to fully support to answer this question. Or you could choose an argument essay and discuss both sides of the
Yeah.
issue, both, a reason for each opinion.
I think I'd probably choose an argument essay here just because it would be more interesting for me to write that essay. You know what I mean?
That's
Um,
right. More interesting, easy to come up with an answer for both.
yeah.
And we're going to get into concessions in a bit, but you are challenging yourself a little bit because if you choose an opinion essay here,
Mhm.
you would need a concession in order to
Ah,
address that other side. That is
okay.
when a concession is needed.
Yes.
When you could go either way, if you choose opinion essay, you should include a concession.
So you always in any kind of essay, you're gonna see both sides to some extent, right?
Exactly. It's whether
Yes.
it's fully addressed in their own paragraph or
Yeah.
just a concession, which to answer the student's question, it's not a full paragraph. It would just be like one sentence conceding the
Yes.
other side, like
Okay.
recognizing there is merit to the other
Right.
side of
But
this
there will be
argument.
like a hint of it, a hint of it. Yes, love it.
Exactly.
Is there another example, Aubrey, of an essay that came up on the exam in February
Yes.
2025?
Yeah, so we're going to read another one, and then we're going to think about can this be written as an opinion essay or an argument essay? So
Mhm.
here's the test two question.
Okay.
Many people believe that safe investments are better for their long term future, while others feel there is more value in risky investments. Discuss both sides and give your own opinion.
Oh,
Mm.
interesting. Yeah.
What do
Okay.
you think, Lindsay? Could you write an opinion essay or an argument essay for this?
Oh, this has to be written as an argument essay, Aubrey. Yes.
Exactly, right? In the instructions, it says discuss both sides and give
Mhm.
your own opinion. So you don't have a choice. You cannot write an opinion essay where you just have your opinion. You
Mhm.
have to answer that. You have to do what the instructions say and
Yeah.
discuss both sides.
But be careful because they're writing in the question, discuss both sides and give your opinion. So don't get tricked and think you're writing an opinion essay, right? I
That
could
is
see
tricky.
if we
Yeah.
have not prepared with a good system and learned our strategies, we might get tricked there, right?
Right. You see the word opinion. It's really good to keep in mind that every single task two essay, you have to include your opinion, no matter
Mhm.
what the question is, right?
Mhm.
So, yeah, don't see this and think, oh, opinion essay. Nope. Discuss both sides. You have to
Yes.
do an argument essay.
I love it. All right. So let's talk a little bit more about the topic of today's episode. When is a concession needed? Let's go deeper into that idea.
Yeah. Okay. So a concession is needed when both sides of an issue are presented in the task two question, but you are not told that you have to discuss both sides. So
Okay.
you are choosing to write an opinion essay covering just one side.
Mhm.
And again, this is only possible if the essay instructions don't actually say discuss both sides. Look for that
Okay.
terminology or
Mhm.
discuss both views, discuss
Mhm.
both opinions. Anything that tells you you have to share both sides of an issue, then you can't just write an opinion essay.
Oh, good. So, some flags that we might see. To what extent do you agree or disagree? Or is this a positive or a negative development?
This is
Right?
some of the writing that IELTS uses in essays where you can write an opinion essay with a concession because you're not
Mhm.
being told discuss both sides. It's asking,
Mm.
what extent do you agree or disagree? Is this positive or negative? You could
Yeah.
write an opinion essay, but
Yeah.
you would need a concession.
It's so powerful to know the language that IELTS uses and look for it. Kind of put a
Yes.
flag up if you see it. Know what you're looking for and know what that is. What is that code for? Right?
Exactly.
Yes.
Yes. And as we said, your concession would not be a whole paragraph. It's
Mhm.
going to be just the beginning sentence of your second body paragraph, is the best way to structure this. So
Okay.
you have a body paragraph where you share your reason, your details for your opinion. And then the
Mhm.
second body paragraph, at the beginning of it, you're still going to share another reason for your opinion, but you're going to start it with a concession.
All right. Do we have an example here, Aubrey, that we want to share for our listeners?
Yes, we're going to give you a band 9 concession here.
Okay.
And we're again sharing another IELTS Test 2 topic from February of this year. And then we
Mhm.
are going to give you, if you choose to write an opinion essay about this, what your concession sentence could look like. Do you want to read the topic
The
for us, Lindsay?
question? Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, this is from just this year, earlier this year. So here's the question. Long distance flights consume the amount of fuel that a car uses for many years and pollutes the air. Some people think that we should discourage non essential flights, such as tourist travel, rather than limit the use of cars. To what extent do you agree or disagree?
All
All
right.
right.
So again, you have options here, right? You could
Mm-hmm.
write an argument essay. We
Mm-hmm.
actually recommend this. It is often easier to come up with a reason for both sides and fully support it in its own paragraph.
Mm.
But if you feel really strongly one way or the other, you can write an opinion essay here and you come up with a reason, two separate reasons for your own opinion.
Mm-hmm.
If you do that, you'll write a concession
Mhm.
sentence to start the second one. This is what
Yeah.
it might look like, right?
Okay.
So
Mhm.
let's say that your opinion is you disagree. You think that instead of limiting flights, we should
Mhm.
limit the use of cars. So the
Mhm.
first body paragraph would cover one reason for your opinion. And then your
Mhm.
second body paragraph could start with this concession. Though some posit that plane travel should be limited, which would definitely decrease pollution, I feel that the more optimal solution is decreasing vehicle emissions. Then
Yes.
you would provide your second reason for that opinion. So you see,
Mm.
you're conceding the point. You're
Yes.
conceding that, sure, plane travel would decrease pollution, but I still feel that the better solution is, and you're providing your opinion, to
Yes.
decrease
I love
vehicles.
it. I love it, and this is not a vocabulary episode, but I wanna point out a very band 9 vocabulary word here, though some posit, right? To posit, such a good word, Aubrey. What does it mean?
Yes. Yeah, this means to assume as a fact or to put forward as their opinion, right? So
Mhm.
it means the same as though some think or though
Mhm.
some believe, but that's band 6. This is a
Mhm.
band 9 vocabulary word. Though some posit,
Yeah.
yeah, that is great. And you'll notice here I have a lot the meaning in this concession sentence has to sort of be a lot from the topic. You
Mhm.
don't want to repeat the vocabulary from the topic. You need to rephrase it, use paraphrase, right? So I'm
Mhm.
saying the more optimal solution instead
Mm.
of, the better choice. And then instead of saying they said limit the use of cars, I say decreasing vehicle emissions. So look at these
Mhm.
paraphrases. That's a skill you need to practice to not repeat the vocabulary
Yes.
from the question.
Yeah, and that is something that we go into in our course in depth, right? How to
Yes,
rephrase what you've seen because like you said, you're not repeating back what they've asked you in the question. You have to rephrase that. Yes.
exactly. Yes. And remember, if you're in our course, you can sign up at allearsenglish.com/keys. You can get answers to questions like this student posted, right?
Mhm.
And you'll know you can trust the information. Not only that, it's such a supportive community of other students like preparing for IELTS
Yes.
and all of the strategies you need on test day.
And of course, sharing their 7s or higher when they get them, right? I love that
Absolutely.
part. We
It's so
love
motivating.
for sure. Aubrey, where else can we go to learn a bit more about this?
Yeah, we want to share on our blog. There's an article that we wrote, How to Write Killer Concessions in IELTS Writing Task 2. So if you
Mhm.
come to the blog at allearsenglish.com and search the word concession, that will come up if you want to dive more into how to write concessions and practice doing this so you're ready for test day.
Yes, so good. And where should we leave our listeners? What is the final thought for today?
Yeah. For your task response score, it is vital that you address every part of the question.
Mhm.
So, we recommend you write an argument essay if at all possible to ensure that you do this. But if you're writing an opinion essay, you should include a concession if both sides of the issue are presented in the topic. The task response scoring system says all parts of the question are fully covered. And so the examiner is looking for you to
Mm.
directly address everything in that question.
Yes, and we talked about earlier before we went live that sometimes the scoring system is open to interpretation from the examiner. So we want to, right? Do you want to say a
It
little
is a
bit
little
about
subjective, right?
Mhm.
So when an examiner goes to score this, if your essay does not have a concession,
Mhm.
you cannot score an 8 or higher. There's a chance you could score a 7 still, if everything else is really excellent on your essay,
Mhm.
but that's not for sure, right?
Yeah.
Some examiners would look at it and say, "Oh, I don't think this can quite score a 7 because all parts of the question aren't addressed." So
Mm.
better safe than sorry. If
Yeah.
you're writing an opinion essay, include that concession.
I love it. Super interesting. Great expertise, Aubrey. Glad we're on here together and I'll see you in the next episode. All right.
Yes, awesome. See you next time.
All right. Take care. Bye.
Bye.